According to feedback city officials have received, Veterans Memorial Park is one of the more popular projects the city has undertaken in many years. Phase 1 saw the creation of an impressive flag plaza, obelisk, and memorial to the 5 branches of the military. Phase 2 saw the construction of a memorial honoring specific individuals with customized bricks, all assembled in a circular sitting area. And as for Phase 3, that's where this guy comes in. Clayton Koss is an artist unlike any you've ever seen. A chainsaw artist.
Exactly what the name implies, you know, you're carving with the chainsaw, and it's simple as that.
Clayton has made a career out of carving images onto wood with a chainsaw. Here you can see the image of a Civil War soldier, a train conductor, and other pieces he carved throughout Norman. When 4 diseased trees near Moore's Veterans Memorial were slated to be cut down, city officials had an idea.
We noticed that there were 4 dead trees across the creek, and we thought, well, we're going to have to cut those down, clean that area up. And then we had the idea, rather than do that, perhaps we take those 4 trees down and turn them into something useful and something creative, and that gave us the idea of carved wooden soldiers.
The 4 trees were loaded onto Clayton's trailer and taken to his studio, where he will convert them into 4 wooden soldiers depicting World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the most recent engagements in the Middle East. The process will be very similar to what Clayton is doing here. In this case, a client called for a dead tree in their backyard to be converted into a wooden statue of 2 family pets.
Well, you got to have a few ingredients. You got to have a piece of wood or a tree stump, and then you got to have an idea, okay? And from there, it's just a matter of basic sculpting techniques that you would use really in any medium where you carve down to the subject. So I mean, it's just removal of wood.
But before the wood removing can begin on the Veterans Memorial Project, Clayton first had to have an image to carve. For this, city officials worked with the 45th Infantry Brigade.
The first place we started with was the 45th Infantry Brigade, which had just come back from Iraq. And we contacted them, and they made available to us a soldier in combat gear. They had checked out a weapon to him, and so we put him in the pose that we felt like the tree would accommodate.
They then worked with the 45th Infantry Museum in Oklahoma City to acquire historically accurate military uniforms and weapons for soldiers of the 3 other wars that will be represented in the display.
And we just recreated that process by putting him in those poses that we felt like the tree would accommodate, the size of the tree would accommodate. And we literally went around that person and took several photographs, the detail far away, and that will lead us hopefully to the exact replica of those soldiers of those times.
There's not going to be a whole lot we can do with pose. The trees aren't overly big, so it'll be a fairly tight composition. And then as far, there won't be any specific person that we're trying to carve, just representative of a soldier.
Clayton will soon begin carving those trees, which, as you can see from his work on the dog statues, involves his trusty chainsaw, but also a blowtorch and other techniques to create very realistic images within the wood. Once the soldiers are completed and added to the existing memorial, the 3 phases will serve as a lasting tribute, which city officials believe is becoming of a community like Moore.
Moore is a red, white, and blue community, and we take a great deal of pride in that. And this seems like a natural offshoot of those traditional kinds of values, and that we make this not just a point where people may be driving by and stop, but they make it a destination to honor a loved one that was a veteran or a family member of a veteran.
So any kind of a veterans memorial is always going to be good for our country, you know. So that's the good aspect about it. I like the theme, you know. It's a good theme, and of course, the carvings will be challenging. You know, that's interesting as well.
As for those dog statues, Clayton is putting the finishing touches on noses and paws. This greyhound is actually the model for the project, which isn't the easiest subject to sculpt, considering how fast he moves. But for Clayton, the challenge is part of the fun, whether it be a speeding greyhound or historically accurate soldiers from previous eras. The end results are often very meaningful.
Usually that's what we do, though, see, is carve things that have meaning to my clients.